I got the whole world cooking up. Show the black cooker.
Peace, community. Peace, community. You already know we back with another episode of The Cook Up in the community, man. You already know if you're new, welcome to the community. If you're a part of the community, welcome back. We're going to be going into a video and breaking down some mindsets real quick. It's a couple of things that's in this video that I'm going to have to see how y'all think about it. So we're going to break this down together at the same damn time. You already know, make sure y'all dropping your likes on the way in. Make sure you're subscribing to Community and One Community 2, the backup channel, because you know when you're vibrating on a high consciousness, somebody always trying to bring you down. So let's get into this video. You already know, tic-tac-toe. That's the name of this one. Let's get it.
If you fight for it for another reason, don't fight for it because he's innocent of a molested kid.
Let's say he molested 1,000 children. Factually. Okay. Genetic evidence and everything. Things that we don't deny. Scientifically, we say, wow, okay, true. If someone was to ask me, would you still worship him as your Most High, acknowledge him as your Most High God? I would have to. I don't identify with everything he does there, much like I believe most Christians don't identify with everything their God does.
Like, have sex. You can answer that question for yourself. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. So that's, and I feel like it's important because if people are heading on a righteous path and they're supposed to be heading the right way, they need the information. I'm not saying what to believe in and how to pray. I'm saying what's real and what's not real. I'm not attacking doctrine. I'm not attacking what you're learning. I'm just saying what's real and what's not real, because if you tell a lie long enough, it becomes believable. And then people are just going to say, oh, this is what I know, and this is what I know, and then when you say, well, were you there? They're going to say no, and then we go to say information. So
State of mind is a state of being.
Tariq Noel is in the chat. And
Shout out to Tariq Noel. Shout out to my brother Tariq Noel.
How do you feel about Polight saying he doesn't care if Malachi York molested 1,000 children, he would still worship him as God?
I feel that would be wrong. Hell yeah, I don't feel good about that.
That's what I was asking you earlier. Why do you have that video on your
platform? I see what you're saying.
Drop the We Are Family poster, but I really just want you as brother Polight.
So you see what the caller called in and said. The caller actually called in and to ask him, you don't agree with all that? He said, no, I don't. He said, so I'm just calling to ask you, why do you have that video on your channel still? You see what I'm saying? These are kind of questions that we have to ask ourselves. People say that they're against pedophiles, but they want to profit off pedophiles. What part of the game is that? Are you with pedophiles if you want to profit from them too? Let's ask that question. You say you're against something, but then you want to profit from it. So if people got a pedophile ring over there, I ain't with it, but you want to profit from the pedophile ring. Is that how it goes? I didn't say nothing, you know. The words are here. Okay, cool. Let's get back into it then, because this is how the shit's looking to me. Okay, but people are expressing disappointments in me. So I just want to understand what the hell's going on here. You see, watch how I'm going to let the video talk. I'm going to let the video talk.
Like to clarify and let it be known that you don't have to explain your question. We can talk down a later date, but clarify that it doesn't have anything to do with charges or anything like that, so the people won't have nothing to attack our father with.
Well, I'll tell you this. My discipline doesn't allow me to present certain ideas that I have because I teach my brother's order, the same order that I was educated in. So my discipline wouldn't permit it. All right? And it's simple questions. It's not nothing intense. As far as the case is concerned, I do not know. I believe Dr. York is innocent. I have tremendous reason to believe that he's innocent. However, I do not know. I never slept in his bed. You feel what I'm saying? There's two sides.
Listen to what Sanet is about to say in a second, y'all. Rock with me.
So all I could do as as an observer is weigh in on the information. And I can clearly see the conspiracy. I can prove the conspiracy to bring the man down. But even in light of a conspiracy being used to bring the man down,
Dr. York's son can't understand. Like, what the hell? You trying to bury my dad? What the hell? Look at him.
Throughout the media to infiltrate our consciousness, there still may be reason to believe that he may have done it. So as a rational being, I decide, since I have never been in that man's bed, to watch what he does day in and day out, in the nature of the charges and the allegations, I still hold him dear in my heart as my father and my master teacher. I don't turn my back on him. Unfortunately, I just do not know if he did or he didn't. It is my right to say, I simply don't know. I would like to believe he didn't, and I have reason to believe him dear in my heart as my father and my master.
He does have a lot to say in another person's case. In his own case specifically, he don't have this much to say. He does not have this much to say. You know what I mean? He's talking about another man's case, and he's going into permitting all type of words, all types of talk. His son is looking at him like, the fuck is all of this he's talking about? Look, what is this he's talking about? That's how he's looking at him. Like, what? You don't see the camera keep zooming in on the son? And he's in jail for abusing the kid. I think putting hands and beating on a kid or something like that. I think his girlfriend's son. Ain't the fucking, look at the coincidence of the bullshit that's going on.
Oh, no, you can't be serious. That is some bullshit right there.
He's in jail for some shit like that. That's crazy. But anyway, he's looking at him like, what the fuck? Shaggy, right? Look at this shit. But he got all this shit to say. But in his own case, he can't even just express some sympathy for the child. Not go into the case, not talk about what address on Collins did you go and all of that. No one's asking you particulars in the case. Show some empathy for the child. This is what we asking. Show empathy for the child. Because if you're innocent of something, that means something happened to the child, and you should want justice for that child, because that child is damn near the same age as your child. What if this was one of, you know what I mean? What if this was your child? Come on, don't do that. But listen what Sai's going to say after this one, though. Chill.
As a teacher, I don't turn my back on him. Unfortunately, I just do not know if he did or he didn't. And it's my right to say, I simply don't know. I would like to believe he didn't, and I have reason to believe he didn't. But even with all the reasons that I have to believe that he didn't molest those children, it still stands to reason that he could have. And nothing can take that away. I just don't know. So I practice empathy.
With more and more information. That's up to you, brother. Whenever you want to get on here, you got my number. Call your brother.
I'm talking about this right here. Let's go.
It's so heavily on my chest. I need to put it on your platform. And of course, the door is always open to you, my brother.
Yeah, but I'm more like on a personal level, man, because, you know, you call
This
me
is the guy that was on the bench, Tariq.
You know, and I come to you and I tell you what I've been through, and that's the truth, you know. And you can accept that or you cannot accept that, but like that's what it is. Like if you want to be my brother,
you have to understand. I'm the media, brother. You don't see. You can't go to the news.
Let's stick with York, though. York is a confirmed case. He is certified, verified. They got medical documents, back that shit up. He under the jail. He ain't in a jail cell. He in a jail cell under the jail.
Sister, there you go again. We speak on things we don't know. I checked it out. He is not in jail for molesting. That's not what he in jail for.
Not only
Is not Dr. York in there for molestation as well as racketeering and the other charges? So Sanet.Er is saying at this time, right, that he's not. All right. So let's go a little bit further into the video and let's see what transpired.
what he's in jail for. He is also.
He's not in jail.
He didn't get convicted of that.
That's not what he's in jail for. He's not in jail for that.
He's in jail for trafficking minors across the state lines for
Tyreek, is he in jail for molesting people, brother?
He pled guilty to state court
No,
for
I
child
asked you the
molestation.
question. Is Dr. York
He got multiple
for child
sentences.
molestation?
Hold on. Let me answer the question. Sanet.Er. It happened in 2 stages. It was the guilty plea. He pled guilty to state for child molestation. He pled guilty to federal for racketeering and all that, RICO and all that stuff. The federal got rejected. Whatever happened, it ended up going to court. And the court only dealt with most of the federal stuff. And
that's
you know,
the point. See, that's what
okay,
I'm
but
saying.
hold on. Now that there were charges dealing with child molestation, but it wasn't worded as child molestation because they don't have
I told you, trafficking minors across state lines for sexual purposes.
No.
Yeah. So now the reason hold on, real quick. If you go.
Sanet.Er is also arguing the victim down. When the victim, this is the same victim that Brother Polight spoke to and said, this is my God, regardless of the fact, even if he charged with 1,000 crimes, he's still my God. This is the same guy. Okay. So now Sanet.Er is also battling with this man. Why is he battling with the victim? We just seen Sanet.Er do a recent interview with a child, okay, that he says, right, is he's trying to help because the child was abused. But then he takes this interview and weaponizes it against multiple people, Queen's Throne included, and other people that had nothing to do with the exact reason of creating the video. So how are you trying to help somebody and weaponizing it at the same time? So when we look at this video now, he's making a strong case for Dr. York. But why would he be? Why would he be? Okay, let's figure it out. Because someone's going to call in right now and explain this to him. Say, obviously, my brother, you don't know about the law. You know, you can go to Pacer. And when you bring things up, you will see exactly how this thing goes. So you don't have to cape for anybody here, brothers. See? That's how it goes.
Look up. The guilty plea is still standing on the state level. It's never been taken back. You can look up his guilty plea. It's still standing. He went to court for federal charges, not for the state charges. The state charges dealt with all the child molestation counts. Well, at least the majority of them.
Tyreek, let me ask you one question. Is Dr. York doing time because of child molestation? Yes or no?
Yes, and I will answer that because he's doing time for child molestation, racketeering, trafficking.
Well, it wasn't necessarily a question. It was just something I wanted to just add on to what Brother Tariq was trying to point out in regards to something also that you brought up in reference to what Malachi York was convicted of.
Yes.
And one of the best sources to get the facts on what exactly he was found guilty on, you can, if anyone has access or gets a Pacer account, and what that is it gives you access to any and all federal documents, court proceedings, and the results of convictions, etc. So in case 5-02CR00027, you have document 362 filed of November 4th. It's only 3 pages, and it gives a complete list of what York was convicted of. So you have 1, conspiracy to commit racketeering violations, which he received 240 months for. Racketeering acts, 240 months. Conspiracy to transport minors in interstate commerce for unlawful sexual activity. Conspiracy to travel interstate commerce for unlawful sexual activity with minors. And conspiracy to structure cash transactions to evade currency transactions reporting, which will require, which he got 60 months for. So the majority of what Malachi received in the federal conviction was 540 months on counts 4, 5, and 6, because he was found guilty on 11 of 13 counts in the federal. Transporting minors in interstate commerce for unlawful sexual activity, that's where he received the 540 months. travel interstate commerce to engage in unlawful sexual activity with minors, he received 180 months. So if we were to go down the list, he received a total of 1,620 months or 135 years. And this was under the Federal Mann Act. And the Mann Act was known once as the White Slavery Trafficking Act. So what the FBI was able to do was, because there's no federal statute on child molestations as a statement or term, they were able to use this Mann Act, which dealt with children, women being used and across state lines for sexual activity. And that's how the government was able to get him on that, because in the state case, of course, he pled guilty to the 200 plus counts, which are not necessarily 200 people, but just the various counts, which consisted of anal sex. It consisted of digital penetration, which is fingering, and so on and so on. So and the total of those counts, York pled guilty. And the only reason he pled guilty was because when his blood work was returned, it found that he had the herpes simplex 2 virus, which several of the victims also had. And it was his legal team who decided in 2002, which he in 2003 pled guilty in both the federal and the state, came up with the talk of having to plead guilty, because having to explain how he has herpes simplex 2 and several of the male victims and female victims having the exact same virus, it would be kind of difficult. So that I just wanted to bring some context to how and the government was able to finally convict York in the federal case.
Let me ask another one question real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So based on Chuck Morgan's answer, or more clarification on, are you satisfied with what he said?
Yes, I've always been satisfied with a lot of stuff he said. Trust me, brother. I've been listening a lot to Chuck Morgan and a lot to y'all.
But
I just have a responsibility to do to my people, and that is to try not to get in the way of making my own personal statements. I can't do that as the reporter. It's like Dr. York. Everything I'm telling you, he got it.
Dr. York in him.
Yeah.
So Sal says that he cannot make personal statements as the reporter. Is that true? Do y'all agree with that? Is that a true statement? Is that a factual statement? He cannot state what he feels because he's a reporter. Is that true? Do he state what he feels on many other things? So we ask the question, why? Why is it that? Because he's already striving against the victim right here. He's striving against the victim. So when you think about it, did that mother go to the right person to bring her interview? I don't believe so. And I said that on live, and I told her that right directly to her face. And I told her this. I don't believe that. And many other people in the chat and on the panel agreed with that. So when we going into people, we have to go into the psyche of individuals. What is your psyche? Especially when these people get mad and all this other shit, people begin to speak their true feelings. So don't watch the facade and all that other stuff. Let's go into the mind of the man. Okay? It's a lot of people. He's caping right now for Dr. Malachi York. Why would I be caping for him? Think about it. Then if you see similarities in the Polight situation, then let's see where the similarities lie or where they come from. Because we already seen previous situations right here of how he's caping right there. And in this situation, he didn't jump out the window on Polight. He actually promoted an interview that was never going to happen. And Polight said he was trying to get money from the people. And then only then was the time that Sanet.Er said, fuck him for real. So we're not going to forget that. And then we're not going to also forget that the people said that they wanted to mass unsubscribe from Sanet.Er. I didn't say that. The people said that. I'm on social media. I'm on everything. I'm a young guy. I'm not an older man like Sa. I'm a young man. I'm on everything. I'm on sites. I'm talking. I'm chopping up with people, all type of shit. And this is what people talking about. So I title the stream and say, people are thinking about unsubscribing, mass unsubscribing from Sa, which I think about that. This is a community. We could talk about situations, right? That's it. No one's casting judgments, right? Because the reason the people said that is because they said, are you going to delete the Polight videos? They want them shits off. That's yet to be seen. That's yet to even be privatized. Not even deleted, privatized. So think about that. In that video, you hear the woman say to him, all right, do you believe that he was died for? Like, what do you believe?
But for real though,
why haven't you, my brother Tariq, charged them, called them? Is it a way that you can visit him, wrote him a letter, and asked them, why me? Why you do this to me? Because you're still looking for answers, am I right?
In interviewing a victim of a case like that, I think one of my last questions is for a person to speak directly to that abuser. It's still things that a person has to deal with. You're dealing with this every single day. Every single day. Just because he's a man and he was abused by a man, don't think that it's just that easy for people to just, confront their abuser. Sometimes we could confront our abusers from far. Sometimes we get strength. Sometimes people are different. You know what I mean? You don't know. This man was abused. He seems definite when he's asking him shit and things, right? But when this same man is the man that asked him the questions on the phone just now, he didn't seem so sure. He seemed about as sure as Polight was when he was on the bench, probably a year ago or so before that interview, when he was on the bench. You see how you look now? You look like he's a little older and stuff. Remember, he was looking on the bench when Polight said, no, that's my God. So think about that, man. Shout out to Tariq Noel, man. Shout out to Tariq, man. You know what I'm saying? We got to stand with our brothers and sisters, man. We got to stand with our brothers and sisters, man. For a man to come out and speak about things like that, like abuse, man, it's hard. You know what I'm saying? I know it's hard for anybody, but especially as a man, they tend to try to, play with your sexuality and things like that when you tend to come out against the man, against being abused.